My name is Cy Ball. This is a tutorial on creating a riser in VCV Rack. A riser is an audio signal that rises in volume and pitch over a period of time. Risers are used in electronic music to break between segments of a piece of music. Using VCV Rack, you can create your own risers to make your own signature sound. With this setup, we need to add an oscillator. Let's use the fundamental oscillator 1. We'll need a filter. Let's use the tangents filter from Volt. Very good all-around filter. Let's use the VCA from fundamental. VCA 1, I like that because you can see what's happening. Let's add a button to give us a trigger when we want to hear our sound. Let's add the Mark 1 trigger from AS. We have to set that at 5 volts or above to be a proper trigger. Now we need an envelope to make both the frequency and the volume of the sound go up. Let's use the attack decay from NIST. Since we only need really a straight line up, we don't need a decay. We'll get rid of that. We'll move the attack decay, say about 3/4 round. Let's see, we need linear line, and we want the scale to be as high as possible to affect this. We want to trigger it from the button here, and we'll use that envelope to trigger the sound. You can see it working. Can't hear it because I haven't set that up yet. Let's attach the VCA to the output of the filter and the low pass input to the sine of our VCO. And let's take the output of the VCA and put it on our master mixer. Set the volume. Got that far. Now let's modulate the frequency. See how that goes. Now the frequency will regularly be driven by this envelope to a high enough frequency we can't hear it. So we have to adjust the FMCV knob till we can hear it through most of the cycle. Something like that. Okay, so we got a riser. Not very exciting, but it rises. Do some bookkeeping here. Let's add a multiple. One by 8 from AutoDefay. I like that one. We can use it to spread the signal from our trigger button out wherever we want it. We'll be using that. Then let's add another multiple and use that to spread our envelope out to wherever we want it to be. Let's see if it still works. Very nice. Move this around a little bit and get a little bit fancier sound. Maybe that's too much. Let's try that. Drive it a little bit. Doing okay so far. Well, we need to modulate it better than that with more modulations, let's say. I like to use a sum from MTSCH. This sum has some features. I can put in 8 inputs. It will sum them. And from those inputs, I can either have them just pass through, have them invert, or have them muted. It's kind of nice. So let's take a line from our attack decay, put it to the sum. Now so now we have the attack decay here. Now let's add something else. Let's say a noise. This noise from Bog Audio is rather nice because it offers you 5 different shapes of the noise. I think this time we won't be using anything but the white, but the thing to do is experiment. Blue, white, pink, red, Gaussian. See which one sounds good to you when you get there. So we can put it in to the summer. It will be summed and thrown into our frequency modulation. It's a little bit too much, isn't it? I think from here on out, maybe what we want to do is use also another distributor called 8-Bert. It's in the functional set. If we simply go through that, 8-Bert has 8 pass-throughs, the input through an attenuverter and out. That gives you a lot of attenuverters to work with. Now you won't hear anything because it's really on 0. We can gradually move it up to where it's perhaps a little more than we want. That's kind of gritty, kind of nice. Let's see. All right, we'll stick with that for right now. Now we need some more modulators to make a more interesting riser. Let's get the Tri-LFO from AS. This thing is great. I love it. The first thing I want to do is put reset lines on it from the button so that it's reset to the start anytime I press my trigger button. Then let's connect to our 8-Bert and from there to our sum. I have to turn the attenuverter a bit. Let's make it faster. I kind of like that right now. What we can do, though, is decide how much of that we want. For me, that's a little much. I rather like that. Let's also, though, just see what an inverted version of that would be like. Ooh, that's kind of nice. I like that. Let's try on the second LFO to change it from unidirectional to bidirectional and start it 180 degrees off the other one, and feed in the sawtooth. Okay, we need to give it some to see what that's going to sound like. Interesting. Didn't expect that. I think it needs to be a little faster, perhaps. Let's see. Ah, there you go. That actually might be a good riser noise. Make it a little faster. What happens? Pretty nice. What we can do is mute the sawtooth and see what happens. It's a different kind of riser, and that's okay. So now we've invented two risers that are kind of interesting to me. What else do we want? We can do almost anything. Let's try the square wave. See if that is any difference to us at all. Make it a little faster, I think. It's not turning me on all that. That one's not bad. See if we give it full blast. What about if we invert it? That's kind of a nice one, almost helicopter-like. You can see there's lots of things you can do with this. Now, one thing I wanted to do but forgot to do, we are using the envelope to increase the volume, at the same time using the envelope to increase the frequency. And we can continue with the frequency changes exaggeration by changing it in tangents as well. So I've just linked the envelope to tangents cutoff. Let's see what happens. Pretty nice. We can do whatever we want with that. We can less effect. Again, we've invented a little bit more of a riser. Obviously, we can change the cutoff to create different sounds. Now, one more thing I'd like to do. Well, first, I'd like to point out, you don't need to use my oscillators and noise sources. You can use any oscillator, any filter, any set of frequency modulations you want. You can, for instance, choose a caudal, which is a chaos source from Volt. Very nice thing. If we just take that and put it in here, connect it to this, see what kind of noise it makes. It is chaos, so you can't really predict what it's going to do to you. That might be one trick you could do. Any other noise source would be good. The thing I want to do, though, is also have the pan go from left to right. That requires another plug-in because the envelope is 0 to 10 volts, whereas the pan is -10 to +10 volts in the standards here. So There is a rescale plugin from AS that allows us to change our envelope to a different voltage scale. In this case, we plug the envelope into the 0 to 10 volt plug-in there, and we change the dial to number 3, which will give us -10 to +10. Change the output to the pan CV and lower the pan to 0 so it starts extreme left. Well, let's see what happens. And kind of loud. We need to adjust that a little bit. Because the volume is so low on the left side, when it starts, we don't hear it moving for a while. Wonder if I could put a delay in here that would let's just see what that one does. I also think the attack is going on for too long. That's pretty good. That's one way to do it anyway. So now we've got all these things, and you can use any other sound sources you like, as I was starting to say. You certainly don't have to do it the way I do it. That would not be the point at all, actually. But this is a suggestion as an approach. One other thing you might do as a final suggestion is use a distortion plugin. I like Debriatus from Bolt. Has pretty much all the things you want. We're only going to use the left in and left out for this. And you could saturate it like this. Doesn't make much difference in this case, does it? A little distortion, less saturation. So that's another thing to try. Then when you want, add your reverb. And you can add a delay if you wish. And record it, or bridge it over to your DAW and do with it as you wish there. That's really the only suggestions I have. I think you can have fun producing all sorts of risers and other sorts of whoosh sounds with this sort of setup if you keep trying. Thank you very much. I'm Cy Ball.